4. Hey everybody, thanks so much for joining us today for this. We're just waiting for a couple more minutes before everybody joins. This is going to be an interactive session, and I'm going to be telling a few things and of course showing a few things. So I'm just setting up my screen right now so that it's easy for everybody to obviously see it and of course play around with many things today. So all right, everybody. Thank you so much for your patience, and I hope you all can hear me. We're going to start the session today, and we're going to be delving into a very nice writing workshop. And I'm going to be using a lot of tools. As you can see, I have ChatGPT open. I have a lot of these things for you, and of course, AI tools. And you might be wondering, like, where is this going? But I'm sure, let me tell you that I assure you that this is going to be a session which is ultimately extremely useful for you. And you're going to get a lot of insight from here in terms of how to approach the whole writing process. Okay, so I have to tell you today, I'm not going to teach you how to write the SOP, but I'm going to tell you about how to prep towards writing the SOP actually. All right, and this is going to be extremely useful information that can help you for later. All right, so with that, let's go get started and see how many of you have already started thinking about the essays. You can just have like a show of hands or something else at the moment. You can obviously use reactions. That'll also give me like an idea. I can see your chats, of course, and so on. Yeah, make it interactive. That's how you can get the benefit of this, as well as it'll be really easy for you as well. Anyway, so you can also put in the chat, guys. Are you all there? Can you hear me? Okay, let's get going. So, of course, you know me. With so many of you have already interacted with me. I'm gonna skip this slide. So you might know a lot of things about me that I also have done my master's abroad, blah blah blah, and other things. You might know this about me. But what you don't know is that I'm also a top LinkedIn voice. And actually, the number changed. You know, this was written into 2023. I had 450 posts. But then this was in June of 2023, so that was 450 posts then. But I should say that since then, every day I write. So we can add another 180 days plus another almost close to like 120 days easily from last year. So it has increased that much. So you can easily say that I have like so many posts happening every day. Every day I write. So I'm also a writer here and the LinkedIn creator. And I've been featured by LinkedIn News many, many, many times, which went to their entire thing. So I'm going to use that as well today in order to help you with the writing process. Because it's very important to understand that you are getting into graduate school, which is nothing like how it was before. Some of you might have experienced it if you had the privilege of like working with such universities or such professors, etc. But otherwise, as far as Indian system is concerned, many of us do not have this opportunity. All right. And I mean, this is what might be true. And of course, if you have the opportunity, good for you. But majority of you may not have this opportunity to like think about writing and everything. All right. So today, what we're going to do is we're going to like work on these elements right now. So, which is you would have your essays, and then we're going to look at how to tap into your creative side, which is an important aspect of writing. We are going to look at the essays with the preference to the entire application, and we're going to have a live exercise using the questionnaire and AI tools. Okay, and if you're wondering about what is the questionnaire that I'm talking about, the questionnaire is this one, which you can all download through your LMS portal. So go to the LMS portal, go to the handy checklist, and you can download. I'll show you how to do it when we need to use it. So this questionnaire, along with your ChatGPT, along with your another one is going to be your Bing Copilot. Okay, we're going to use any of these AI tools, and I'm going to show you today like how to use the AI tools authentically for writing something. All right, so that's going to be the fun part, and we won't repeat this webinar live later. Of course, you have access to this available as a recording, but those of you who are coming here are going to benefit definitely by this exercise and what we're going to achieve. Okay, that's a fun part. Let's get started. So now how to get this essay questionnaire, please log into lms.thecareerlabs.com, log in using your Google ID, whichever it is, and then go to the this one. And of course, we're going to open, right? Now you might wonder like, hey, what is this essay writing you're talking about? What nonsense, what essays, right? Please note that all the things that we call as statement of purpose, letter of motivation, personal statement, statement of intent, there are many, many terms for this. All of these at the end of the day are essays. And the majority of you are going to have the problem of where will I start? How do I start writing this? And where am I supposed to start, right? Okay, so I'm going to tell you a couple things, right? One thing is I'm an engineer and I'm also a very good writer. So I, as an engineer, what do I do is I learned how to break down the problem into multiple pieces. And as a writer, what I learned was how to put together multiple things, right, in order to like make it happen as well. Okay. So I'm going to give you live demonstrations of both of it. Most of you might be engineers, most of you might be like natural writers. So it doesn't matter where you are from. The question is like, where will you start and how to do it? So today we're going to look at some of the biggest problems. So whenever if you're writing a grad school essay, okay, the biggest problem is you don't know how to write. Okay. Now, what do I mean by how to write? You'll be like, hey, I have been learning to write for so long, right? No, what I mean is you don't know how to write a grad school essay or a statement of purpose. You don't know what they are expecting. You don't know the kind of words, the sentence formation, the structure, the number of paragraphs, what it should contain, how it should be, etc. So that is the problem. Now, how do we help you with removing that problem? Sorry, oops. 1 minute. And there you go. Yeah, it's much better. Sorry. How do we get you to get rid of that? This is exactly why you have us for helping you with the editing. So you don't have to worry about how to write because we take care of it for you in the editing process. And we always keep a tab on what is the content? Is it sounding good? Is it answering the question? Is it readable? Is it better for the reader? How to make it more interesting? How to make the writing pop up? Has the writer, or in this case have you identified and highlighted all the important pieces in the essay or not? So that is our job. So do not have to worry about the how to write part, because honestly, when you first start writing, it may not be great. And many of you will be like, okay, where do I write? What do I write? How to start writing? What are they expecting? So that's why we not only have the editing, but we have other tools for you that will help you. Now, a lot of the times you don't know what to write. So you might know how to write. You might know that, oh, you know what? The essay will have an introduction, it'll have this, and it'll have that and all that. But then you may not understand about what should I write about? Okay, I don't know what to write. Okay, that might be a problem. Sometimes you have an idea, but you don't know how to express it. So I don't know what to write. Suppose I'm asking you, why did you decide to come to graduate school? And what kind of research will you be pursuing in graduate school? How do you propose to achieve your career aspirations through graduate school? Now, you don't know how to write or how to answer all of these things. So that can be a challenge. But sometimes you have an idea, but you don't know how to express it. Okay, and sometimes you might have too much of information, too many ideas, and again it'll become a presentation problem. So for this one, okay, I'm going to be suggesting a few things today. All right, and the most important writer's block is you think that you don't have to rewrite, I'll be touching upon this a little bit more, but trust me that, see, in our school conversations, or sorry, in a school setup, we have always attempted, maybe like if you have to write a composition on something. I remember, like, I don't know why, but I remember writing a composition on an elephant. I don't know, all the time. But suppose you had to write a essay on an elephant or something, elephant crossing the road or something like that, you will maximum write it one time or two time, right? Because in your what do you call it, as a composition class or essay class or something like that, you are not going to keep on rewriting. Okay, but for the first time in graduate school, you have to understand that it is it's an iterative process with a lot of rewriting involved. Okay, so you don't, that can be one of the challenges, right? The biggest challenge is you don't want to write. I have a lot of students who say, I don't want to write essays. It's a big chore for me, so don't make me write it, right? But honestly, guys, if you don't write your own essay, right, you are going to be in a tough situation later on. And it's going to be extremely difficult for you in order to, what do you call it, as come back from it, because trust me that um, the weightage that is given for the essays is much higher than your GRE score. Can you believe that? You guys are spending almost, as some of you guys are spending 6 months on the GRE. I know, because some of you joined us pretty early and you've been working towards a GRE for almost 6 months. And if I tell you that the essay or the statement of purpose or the letter of intent is more valuable than the GRE score, imagine the amount of effort and work that needs to go into it. Okay, that's exactly where comes in our process. These are all very big problems. What are the problems you think when you guys look at an essay? Okay, and I'm going to, of course, go to my favorite friend here, which is like ChatGPT. I'm going to start a new ChatGPT conversation. I hope that you guys will do it as well. Okay, see, I want to understand an essay prompt for applying to MS in CS at what is my favorite university of the day? See, I am helping a client from Utrecht actually, for getting into a top program. So, and yeah, they live in Netherlands, and I'm helping them at the moment. So I'm going to put Utrecht University in the Netherlands. Okay. So see, ChatGPT is helping me right now, and amazing. It's telling that Utrecht has all these questions, and it has given me tips for writing the essay. It has given me a sample outline, blah, 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 everything, and all that, ChatGPT is so good. So here's the question. Why have you chosen to apply to the master's program at Utrecht University? Okay, very nice. So unlike other times in life before, now you have all these tools at your disposal in order to look at what is needed. Okay, 100% use AI tool to understand what is there. Okay, but that's not the big deal. So now you see, it will tell you the same thing. In fact, if you go to Bing and put the same thing, Bing will give you a source, and you will find that most of these sources are from the internet, obviously, and some of the other admissions consultants and other information that's already floating around in the world. Okay, in many cases, yeah, like, so if you look at it, we also have a very rigorous way of telling you this. We would have already told you by different worksheets and other things and all that. What ChatGPT did, and of course is filling in the blanks, is like bringing in all that information from elsewhere and presenting it to you here. Okay, and it's not anything new. Okay, if you don't believe me, look at this. So I can go to same Utrecht University. Okay, by the way, guys, I'm just putting random university right now, because every time I want to show you something live. Okay, And see, suppose I look at MS in this one and then I look at essays, right? I can find the same information about what is there in many other places that are there. Okay. So there are many other places on the internet, which can also give me like the writing tips and other things and all that. So what you get from ChatGPT is, of course, like a consolidated information, and I wouldn't often trust this. So I will definitely refer to the website or something. And this is where Bing comes in, which is a little better, and it has a lot of other things for it. Okay. So coming back to the question in hand, right? I wanted to show you a sample of what are the questions that are being asked in these different universities, or what we call as the essay prompt. Now, what is the essay prompt that you will encounter when you're applying to grad school? Okay, so what is it? So you got like, why are you applying to the masters? What is your background or academic or professional background? What are your career goals and how will you achieve them? What are your interests within the field of computer science to which you're applying? What about the qualities or abilities that will help you to get into this program? Okay, and then how would you contribute to the class later on? So these things are not new. Okay, and if it's not just this, if you go and look at for SOP tips or something, everything that ChatGPT is telling is already available on the internet. So it's not a big deal. Okay, so you can obviously use any of these AI tools for understanding what is needed. All right, that's it. Stop right there. After that, I would essentially say that ChatGPT is kind of not so helpful after that. Okay, and we will see that in the remaining example, but let's go back here. So let's go back to our nice looking other things. So what other challenges do you think exist when you're looking at writing an essay? So I'm asking you like that question. How do you propose to apply to this, or rather, why are you applying to this MS in computer science at Utrecht? Okay, now how will you answer that? Okay, that is where the challenge can be. You don't know what to write, you don't know how to write, you don't believe in rewriting the answer that you've written, or you don't want to write. So these are big problems that you can experience. How to overcome that is what we see. Okay, now there might be other problems that I'll tell you. A lot of you might immediately say, you know what, give me a sample critical, give me, like, you claim to have worked with so many people in the past, give me a sample, give me your essay. Okay, I will say no way on earth. That's cheating. I'm not going to give you. So I will say no, no. See, I'm not going to use their words. I will not use anything they have used. I will only use it for a reference. That also doesn't work. Okay, then you will say, you know what? No, 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 no. Let me use AI to paraphrase or fill in the words. Okay, shall we try this? I'm going to try this right now in front of you so that you can be clear. Okay, so let's take this particular. Why have you chosen to apply to the MS in Utrecht University? Okay, and I'm going to paste it here right now. And I would say, look, I am a third year student at, give me like, okay, let me see ABC University right now, studying, machine learning. Let me just put it this way. Okay. And I have done a project on segmentation, or like I was just playing on image recognition of, ripe of mangoes. Okay, because I love mangoes, guys, and it's summertime. That's what gets me going. But no. Anyway, so image recognition of mangoes using classification algorithms, blah blah blah. So I have done this particular project, and then you can say that I'm interested in artificial intelligence and understanding algorithms in general. Okay, so I can obviously give some a bigger, nicer prompt. Okay, are you guys with me so far? Can I just get like a show of hands or something, guys? Or you can just raise your hands or something so that I know that you're here with me, or just put yes in the chat or something. All right, great, thank you. Okay, so people are still still with me. Good to know. Great. So I can add this. I know. You'll just say, yeah, of course you're going to add all this and say it's bad. No, not really. Look, I'm telling you how to use AI, right? The first use case for AI was to understand about what is the question. So we have already established a use case. But I'm going to also tell you like what happens when I hit this. Okay, so obviously it's going to spit something out here. And I can do the same thing and I can paste it in Bing, which I'm going to do it so that I can show you two different tools and you can also use it as well. But okay. So it only will give you like this kind of information and again kind of like write this stuff and all this. Okay, it'll only tell you that to write it, you will have to do this, you'll have to do this, etc. Okay, so what I'm going to tell you is you will find that the answer that ChatGPT is giving you would not be, see, this is the same advice that everybody in the audience today would get. Okay, and it's not really very helpful. So you cannot stand out with such an essay. And if you cannot stand out with such an essay, obviously then you can't get it. Okay, so should you be using this approach? Absolutely not. I would highly recommend you not to do it. Number one is because it's about like also privacy and your data being floated around and everything else and all that. Number two, it is not helpful and doesn't give you the, doesn't give you the information. All right. So, and you might even argue, like, Kritika, you didn't write a prompt properly here. Okay, I will, yeah, I can even show you that. It's just a pedantic exercise. I can even show you that. All right. So, I can say write 400 or 300 or like, write a para on this. Okay, right now it's telling me how to write it. Okay. And it's giving some random stuff like this. Okay. But this is not very helpful for all of us. We already know this. ChatGPT has already told us earlier that, oh, this is how you should write the essay, this is how you should approach it, etc. So it's not really helpful, this particular part. So here's what I do. I'm making this modification of saying, write a paragraph on this for me. All right. And I gave information to it. And I'm going to correct some of the typos here. And you can look at this. Yeah, so again, like it gave you like an elaborate this one. Oh, and it's giving the sample response now. Wow, very good. Let's see what it gives. It's gonna be one of the most boring, banal things, rewriting whatever I gave itself. Okay, so this is again something that you may not want at all, right? Because anybody present here today can give me this kind of stuff. Of course, I can put it into other tools. I identified about 6 tools that you can use for this. There are so many AI tools these days, and I know that if you go to many of those, you can find it, right? But what you will understand is it's this particular answer that you're getting is very boring, and everybody sitting here in this audience today might be having it. So should you actually refer to this and use it? The answer is no. So you cannot start from that AI to only paraphrase or fill in the words. It doesn't really work that way. Okay, at least like in many of the other tools. Yes, there are many other tools available, and you can say that, yeah, the Grammarly has one component, blah blah blah, etc., right? And you might even ask, how will they know? They know. They use a lot of these, for example, Turnitin is something that's used by every business school. And in fact, like they have thresholds. Schools have different thresholds to identify plagiarism levels and all, and the threshold is so low. How do we know? Because that's exactly why we attend all these conferences with AGAC and other things and all. Okay, now how will they know? The schools will know because they use all the plagiarism tools and all. And just how AI is powerful, their AI detection tools and other things are also powerful. Okay, now you might say, you know what, Kritika? All this nonsense I don't want. You know what? My senior has an essay. I don't think like anyone would have checked it, so I can use that, right? No, you can't. You know why? Because all the schools have got into this a brilliant way of, because they use the same software and other things. Many of these universities use similar software. One of them is Slate. Slate is the one that a lot of, for example, Stanford uses. Okay. What happens is anything that an application, any application that comes through the Slate, right, is stored. Okay, so you could have written an application to them 5 years ago. They still have it. It's stored in a big repository, and a new application that comes in is compared with all the other things from the past. So don't think that you can either write your senior's essay or like your from the internet or whatever. That is also not going to work. Okay. Now, the biggest fear that a lot of my students have is like, my writing is not good. I can't write it, or they say that I have never written something like this. I'm not a creative person. I don't know how to write. No, trust me, guys. Um, I work with tons of people. My job is to help you get the writing out. We are not looking at the next Shakespeare or Ernest Hemingway because ChatGPT is there for it. No. Okay. So you're only looking at you. All right. So these are some of the other roadblocks. Now look at it and tell me that is there any other roadblock that you think that I might have missed out? Can you guys tell me like what do you think is a roadblock when you have to answer this very tough question like why did you choose the masters for uh why did you choose the masters for sorry, why did you choose to apply to this masters at Utrecht or something like that, right here? So what do you think are some of the other challenges that you might have? So I'm gonna change this prompt. If you remember, I had changed this prompt, right? And just write, I will say write 1 para on this. And let's just see what it gives. Wait a second. By the way, I really hate Grammarly, which is why I never use it. But that doesn't mean that I don't make typos. I have typos all the time, which is why I correct them later. All right, so we have corrected it and it's reasonably good English out here. So let's use this. Okay. So yeah, look at this kind of information. This is automatically 100% evident to anybody with 2 eyes that it was written by AI because it's so generic, it is so boring, it is so predictable, it is so repetitive, it has a pattern. Okay, I think you guys know where I'm going with it. For God's sake, do not do this. All right? Because it's really literally what we call as crappy writing. Okay. So you cannot start like this. All right. And then, of course, you don't want a sample. We already discussed this. You really don't want to copy from your senior or somebody else. So what else do you think is a roadblock? Okay, I have a nice answer. Why this course can be a roadblock? Okay, fair enough. That's a very good answer. What else? What else you think can be a challenge for you? So I'm going to note that down. Why this course? Yes, this can be very difficult, isn't it? Okay, I'm going to show you the answer for that after towards the end. Okay, so if you can bear with me, I'll show you how to answer that kind of a question. Okay. All right. Anybody else? Guys, you with me so far? Okay. In these workshops, the best you can get is like uh interacting with me or working with me. Anyway, coming to this, look, the big mistakes that people do, you cannot copy another person's essays for the reasons already established. You don't want to use some random templates for writing because every third person or fourth person is going to do that. And adcoms have ways of doing that. Even before AI came, anti-plagiarism tools were really powerful. Now that AI is there, right? Just like how you guys can use AI, the schools can also use AI to detect what's happening and so on. So they can easily have these patterns and templates and blah, blah, blah. When I say template, no, right now I showed you a template. Example is this. This is an example of a template. So now let's say that one of our clients here, one of our friends here, I'm going to call them as, client A. So client A is going to MS in mechanical engineering at, say, Umeå University in Sweden. Now they can go and change this. They can go and replace it with like names of their own, courses or whatever. And they can still say the same nonsense. Okay, they can go change this and write it, replace it with the mechanical engineering project that they have done. Okay, and but they can still retain this whole things, right? Instead of, say, for example, instead of AI, the person can write control systems, and instead of machine learning, they can write, like, suspension systems, okay, or vehicle dynamics. All right. Or forget about it. If you're saying MS in computer engineering, I can write it as VLSI, and then I can write it as FPGA or something. It doesn't matter. I can make a template of this right now. And that'll be the most ridiculous, stupid thing to do. Okay. Now, you might say, can you make a template out of the para you just gave? Um, you know, replace courses with course name. Okay. And specifics with generic information. So I'm going to ask ChatGPT to execute it, and it's going to prove the point that I just said. You see, this is what I mean by a template. So when you search the internet, you will find thousands of such templates, and absolutely, it'll be stupid of you to actually use it because it's of no use. All right? Don't do this. This is what I mean by template. Templatized writing is easily evident to anybody, and is one of the most boring stuff out there. All right. So this is what we call as don't use. This is one of the biggest mistakes that people do, thinking that, oh, they're smart, they're not. So when you're copying somebody's essay, when you're like using the template for writing, it's not there. And obviously using the output of the AI tools as is also like literally it'll make an ass of you. So don't do that either. Okay. Now I'm going to talk about one other thing, which is like thinking the essay as a separate entity. Okay. I don't know, but many of you guys here today, right, have worked with me for at least 2 or 3 versions of the CV, or definitely one version of the CV, right? And we had a couple workshops or more workshops over the last 6 months. And you know how to work on the CV, blah, 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 right? You have to note that your CV is there, okay? Your letter of recommendation is there. Somebody else is telling, and what you call it as, somebody else is ready to give their word for your abilities. Okay. And then, of course, you also have your essays. But most importantly, I also have what we call as your quantitative information in terms of the CGPA and the scores and everything else, right? That you have the CGPA, the GRE score, everything. So all of these things are there already. And the essay is not something that is very separate. All right. The essay is a part of the entire application. The moment you start thinking about it, what happens is there will be no pressure on you to keep on repeating things. So, for example, you are not going to repeat all the same things on the CV. That will be like the most boring version, or what we call as a prose version of the CV. We don't want that. Okay, so you're not going to repeat the same thing you wrote in the CV in the essay. Obviously, you're not going to write the same thing in the LOR in the essay, because the LOR is supposed to be written by a recommender. And the information that you give the recommender will be different. You may ask, how is it different? Okay, let's say that, you are working with your professor and you have another friend. Both of you are working on a project with a professor. How your friend looks at your contribution, how you look at your contribution, and how your professor looks at your contribution will be very different. Yes or no? Yeah, would you guys agree? The level of the professor is very different. The professor would be looking at what we call as a little bit of a distance. And that distance gives the professor a clarity about your abilities and your good things and everything else. Okay, that's how they're able to write the recommendations better. All right. But whereas your friend would be talking or thinking about at his or her level, which is the same as your level, which is very different. And you will be thinking about your project only at your own level. All right. But the recommender would have what we call as, like, you can think of it like a 30,000 feet view, right? Versus somebody like being on ground kind of a thing. Yeah. So you have to understand that the application is an entirety. It's not separate. And therefore, it allows you to have more freedom with the essay. The moment you stop thinking that, oh, the essay is the only thing that matters, You will have more freedom with all the other aspects of the application as well, and you will be able to tailor the essays better. Okay. And I saved the biggest mistake for the last. For God's sake, don't use another person's voice. What do I mean by that? It is as simple as this, I was seeing this other day, I was seeing this some show, not a show, it's a clip of some show. What was funny, right, was that this person was trying to mimic somebody else, like some other friend or something else, okay? And the joke was that they were not able to mimic them properly or something like that. But then it got me thinking, because see how in our lives we're always trying to be somebody different. Why? Because then we think we'll impress somebody. Okay. Similarly, when you're writing an essay, you don't want to sound like Ernest Hemingway. Let's have fun with our ChatGPT friend today. Okay. I'll say like, hey, okay, can you write this para as Ernest Hemingway? I don't know, guys, if you know about Ernest Hemingway. Ernest Hemingway was somebody who used to write really short, crisp sentences. And you will see the answer from ChatGPT to prove it. So he's known for his concise and direct prose, right? So you will get multiple options. See, look at this. Like Ernest Hemingway would have chosen to write this. Okay, so I'm going to say, you know what? I like this better. All right, now I can even say like, okay, that's great. And I like to like give encouragement to ChatGPT or anybody for that matter. Okay, no, jokes apart. Okay, that's great. Can you write it like Sashita Rule? Okay, did you see this? It's so funny, isn't it? Okay, which harmonizes explicitly nonsense. Look at this nonsense here. Has profoundly enriched my fascination with blah 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 and all that, and such as a venerable blah 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 constitute the milieu. All these nonsensical words. Can you see? By the way, the words are not nonsensical in themselves, but the usage of them, and this is what is nonsensical. Now, this is what we mean by writing style. Writing style or writing voice is something that is unique as like your fingerprint. Of course, you can learn to be like somebody else or learn to dress like somebody else, but your voice is going to be your own. Okay, that's why I like to think of it like remember an essay as you have so many things in your wardrobe, but you're going to put together one outfit to present to the interviewer. The same way, the essay is also your way of projecting the elements that you want to tell them. Okay, so you can see that this kind of what we call as writing style differences that exist. So you should not be using another person's voice, either by using somebody else's essay, or by using a template, or by using an AI tool, or by thinking that the essay is like separate and nobody's going to connect it with the rest of them, etc. All right. So I hope you're with me and you're ready for a couple questions now. Okay, in the chat, everybody, tell me that is the essay review process one-shot writing or iterative? Tell me quickly to see whether you've been paying attention. You can put on the group chat, everybody, quickly. All right, obviously, I'm getting a few answers. Very good. Put it in the chat, send to the host. Good. All right. I think I gave the answer away. No, you'll be like, yeah, you told the answer already. I was paying attention. Very good. It is iterative in nature. It is iterative. Okay. Don't think, oh, I'm going to get the perfect essay in the first attempt. You will get nonsense like ChatGPT did. It will not work. It's an iterative process. How is it iterative? It's iterative in this fashion. So you are going to send an essay. Number one, it starts like this. Then we are going to review over a call, or we will send you the review by mail, depending on the situation. Okay. Initial reviews might be with calls because it will help you, but later reviews are by mail, right? You will just send the document, we will make the corrections, and we will send it back to you. Okay. Now, after we send a review, you're going to think about approaching the points that are mentioned in the review. And how are you going to modify it? All right. So you will do the thinking. And I'm putting this separately. A lot of people confuse writing with the actual writing itself, which is like putting your hands on your computer and typing away. That is different. Or like putting a pen to a paper kind of a thing, right? That's very different. You have to think about writing before you're actually able to write. So you have to separate the two of it. And that's what I'm going to tell you today as well. So it is about thinking about approach. Last but not the least, it's about modifying. So this is the actual writing. So let's put it this way. So this is actual writing where you modify the content that you've already shared based on the reviews and so on. And this is the thinking part. So there are like two different important steps which are different. Don't think that they are the same because they're not. Okay. And then of course we check, you're going to make a check by yourself to see if all the points in the review are addressed, because there is like something that you're going to check after this process, and again send back the essay. So you can easily assume 4 to 8 iterations for the first school. All right. It does not reflect on your ability. Trust me, guys, most of the people that I work with, especially this year, have like very high GPAs. They're very good at writing. How do I know? Because I've already worked with them on the CV. I know like what they're capable of doing and so on. All right. So our editing process is iterative in nature. Do not expect to get the first thing right. Okay. How can you get better at thinking? I want you to give me answers quickly. Please think about the answer here. How can you get better at thinking? So let's look at the question. Why are you applying to the MS at Utrecht University today, right? So if I give you such kind of a question, how can you get better at thinking? Think like the reviewer? Interesting. Very interesting answer. Actually, I never expected that. Oh, thanks for that. It gives me a lot of thought today. Thank you so much. That's a beautiful perspective. What else? How can you think better in life? Okay, thinking involves a lot of creativity when you think about it, especially with respect to writing. Okay, I'm gonna show you a couple things which are very interesting to me. All right. The fact is that a lot of people, I have been experimenting with AI for a long time now, like literally like over 6, 7 months. I'll tell you where I use AI. I do not use AI for any of the writing content that I produce. I use AI as a thinking partner. Okay. Do you guys want to see how I do that? And I'm going to tell you like, and I'm going to show you like how it can help you for thinking. So we're going to start with a new chat here. And I'm going to think about it, right? So I'm going to say, you know what? I want to write about, guys, give me a topic, no? Something that's interesting to you. Any topic? Anybody? Of course, we're discussing about writing per se, but I'm going to tell you about a very interesting way of using ChatGPT and how it can stimulate your ideas. All right. So this will be like a new about EV. Somebody has said EV. All right, I'm going to use it. I want to write a new article about EV can you help me with ideas? Okay. Now, this is like a very boring way to ask it. So when I ask it, it's going to give me like what you call it as. This is like your, how do I say, the stock answers kind of a thing. No, it's all there. But now what can I do when I get this, right? I will say like, wow, there are so many things that I got from ChatGPT here. Okay. Now what can I think about? As a human being, my main thing will be thinking. The power that I bring to the table is thinking and thinking differently. I can say, oh, you know what? It'll be wonderful to write an article about 10 myths about EV and misconceptions and all that. Okay, so I can write an article about a whole of this for it. Okay. One more thing is I will say beware of using AI for any listing, because AI is very good at listing. So for example, if I ask you about this, right, you will automatically see as like, see, hey, super, like, and then say the, like, can you help me find 10 EV myths and misconceptions? So it can give me this, but this is going to be like, if you go and check online, right, you will see thousands of things like this. This will be so boring. Yeah. So then what happens? So this is exactly where our human brains will come in. Then I can go in and rather think about it and see like, oh yeah, this looks interesting. What about batteries? What are the connections that I can make between, say, batteries or autonomous EVs or infrastructure, or like the environmental impact and the growing, problems that we have, or the future outlook? How can I connect any of these two things? So that's what we will think, right? So asking ChatGPT to ask you like this is a stupid thing. Okay, don't do this. That will be stupid. And even asking ChatGPT about something like this is like, ChatGPT is giving me an article. 100% I cannot use it as it, right? It may not work. Now, if at all I want to use this, what should I do? I should say that I can bring in more information from other places and prove why this is not the case. I can like add a lot more research around it. I can say like, I'm going to write about the 10 common misconceptions about electric vehicles in India. Okay. And then I can talk about connecting many things. All right. So now what happens? It now when I see again, it's going to give me the same kind of stuff. Okay, but it now gave me a little bit of a different things, right? Now 100% when you go online, you might actually see somebody having done this kind of a thing, so this may not be very useful. But what can I do? I can possibly think about like using this in order to create a survey or something, and then like take it to the dealers or whoever it is, or the manufacturers of EV or something else. Okay, so our power as any human would come when we are able to connect the dots and use different items. Now you guys tell me, like, I'm 100% sure, like, how can you take this list from ChatGPT and how can you get like an interesting idea from what you're seeing? Quickly tell me about what kind of idea would you write about, or what kind of idea do you think has sparked some interest in you? All right, couple answers are coming in. Guys, come on, be more active. Yeah. So the point is that when you start listing, ChatGPT is pretty good at it, and it's not necessarily a good thinking partner. Okay. So I cannot use this. See, honestly, guys, I would not use this, because this would be like, if I use it and then replace it, rewrite it, etc., it will still be not my idea. It will be like idea taken from ChatGPT. That is where you guys will realize one thing. After the ChatGPT and GenAI came in the world, the listing has become something that people hate. Moment they see a list, no, they know that something is tricky. A lot of people don't read it. Okay. Now, if you don't believe me, why don't we go and check this online right now? We can look at myths, the same topic, 10 myths about EVs in India. So let's see like what comes up. And in fact, for this is where I love to use Bing, because Bing will give you like a lot more thing, and you will see that automatically the answers that ChatGPT gave you were already available on the this one, web. So this is another reason why we will not use lists directly from ChatGPT, because it doesn't really help us. Okay, then how should I use ChatGPT, right? So when you want a thinking, right, you can easily think about particular, you can, I already showed you how it can help you make outlines and all. Okay. But I like to think about, if I have to write something about EV right now, what I will do is I will look at some of the answers that ChatGPT gave me, and I'll obviously try to connect multiple aspects and then do. Okay. But what I can show you is like, it can, uh, this one is not great for this, but what it can do is like it can help me think more about the topics. Okay. See, what other topics will interest Gen Z about the EVs? Okay, I can ask like this. And after multiple iterations, what happens is sometimes you get the right answer. Sometimes you get like a statement or something which will show up. You will like it, and then you will start writing or thinking about it and all that. Because otherwise, it is very boring and what we call as cookie cutter. Okay. So now maybe I can then think about, how can Gen Z be a part of the EV revolution. Okay. Or I can think of it this way, maybe. Um, all right. So don't use ChatGPT or any of the Gen AI tools for listing. May not be this one, but think of it like more of a research partner for you. But in order to 1 minute. Sorry. Yeah, go to the Copilot and yeah. So here you can say that I want to write about write about Utrecht University and the courses they provide in AI for my SOP or statement of purpose. You can write that. Okay. What are sites, what should I be thinking about? So here it can be like a good partner telling you something to think about. Oops. Oh, did I? Okay, I have to sign in. I'm so sorry. But yeah, like so here, you guys can test it out, and uh, of course, like see what is needed and help yourself more here. Okay. So and that's basically like what it is. This can be more easy and it'll give you like a lot more resources and other things pointing to whatever is needed. All right. So how is that quick exercise, everybody? You can definitely use AI as a thinking partner, but not for the actual work, the actual words, the actual sentence, the actual structure that you're using in your essay. All right. And I already gave you an example, and I will point you to the LinkedIn article in a minute. Okay. So, which I had. So, coming back to this, you can use ChatGPT and the AI tools in order to tap into your creative side. Thinking means like harnessing your creativity. So what do? I write on pen and paper, jot down 10 ideas. Okay. So I can show you that right away. Okay. I'm not going to write it on a paper, but I'm going to write it on a slide right now. So for example, I had to answer, why do I want to do the master's at Utrecht University? So then I will jot down, you know what? I will find out the curriculum. All right. I will find out the duration of the course. I will find out what are the features, special features of the course and who's teaching it. I will find out like, details about the faculty. All right. So like that, I can start listing it down and you will get like a set of ideas. So sometimes you can start with a bullet points and then build on the essay, like how I showed you. All right. First drafts are absolutely crappy, meaning they're no good. First drafts will be nowhere near the final output. Perfectly okay. You have to understand that it takes a lot of iterations. The best way to think about Utrecht University, which I will tell you, is go to Utrecht University. So example, I will go here, I'll put a Utrecht in MS and CS. I will see what is happening in the university. Why are they so famous or what's happening there? So when I go here, you will realize that there are multiple things that can stimulate my thinking. Okay. Look at this kind of a question. How can I optimize the performance of an electricity network? How can I use the hospital data to improve patient care? How can I develop correct, efficient software? Now, this can be like a good thinking point for me. Say, for example, I have also worked on a healthcare project. Then I can use this. I can say that, when I was working on this healthcare data set, Okay, let me give you an example right now. So for example, if I had worked on a Kaggle competition in the healthcare space. Okay, so let's go to Kaggle and let's go to the competitions here as soon as it loads up. Okay, I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna look at some of the ones that is available. And let's see that, let me just put healthcare. Okay, now, so immediately I had a lot of, things that are available right here. So say, for example, I have worked on this harmful brain activity classification project in critically ill like patients. Okay. So let's say that I worked on this project. Okay. And you tracked professors or people or whoever in the computer science department are working on this. Can I not link my project to what they're doing? Absolutely. All right. Now I go back, I see the professor or like the tracks and everything else. And I see that, in algorithm design and analysis, we're going to be talking about, maybe the optimization for sustainability or whatever. Right. Let's say that I have done any project or I'm interested in the field or something. Can I not talk about it? Yeah, that's how it happens. You can look at the program, you can look at what are the facilities that they have, the specializations they have, the compulsory courses, the electives. So that can be again a point. You can say like why you're so interested in designing your own elective track or something. Example, especially in these areas. Okay. You see, so the particular website and of course the kind of work that you have done in your life are going to be the perfect way of understanding more about the schools and everything else, and of course dealing with this problem, which is ideas. If you want to have more ideas about writing, go to the program website, go do the like research about the professors, the grad school students, what they're doing, what they're studying, etc. Okay. Now, here's where we are very proud of ourselves, which is we break down the writing for you and the essay questionnaire. I'm going to give you like a quick exercise right now. And trust me, it's only 3 minute long exercise, and we're going to do that. Most importantly, guys, please find the joy in writing. It is not a chore. It is not something that you have to do. It's actually good when you learn to write yourself without using somebody else's words. Okay, how did I get here? I wrote nonstop on LinkedIn for every day I write about 500 to 1,000 words every day. Okay. And I allocate the time for it. Every day I have to write it. Why do I do it? Is because that's how I can make all these different tools and everything else for you guys. Okay. This particular writing workshop, right, took me about 45 minutes to put together. You know why? Because I have spent literally more than 450 hours to 600 hours to actually test it out and write it. Okay, otherwise I can't write this much this fast. Okay, and then of course to practice. All right, see, when you go to my chat GPT, typically you will never find any of the of course, like I don't use chat GPT all that much for other things because it really doesn't help me that much. I sometimes like use it for like asking some random question. I want to test out its abilities and so on. So that's why I do. So for example, I love to use it for Excel, and it will tell me all the formulae. So it's really, really nice. And then it'll tell me like about certain things and all that. So I do not use ChatGPT by itself. It doesn't really work for me. And but the only thing I showed you already how I use it for. Okay. So it can be a good thinking tool. That's something that I want you to leave with. Of course, you have other equivalents. You have like so many different things that exist in the world, but the best source for you are going to be the school, as well as like understanding more about yourself. Okay, so that was to close the points about writing and the practice and everything else. And before you go, I'm going to give you this live exercise right now. Everybody, go to your lms.careerlabs.com, go to the handy checklist, the most important tools. Under that, you have the handy checklist. And please download this document. This document is called the Wonderful Essay Questionnaire. This is how we break it down for you and make it easy for you to write any essay that comes your way. There will be tons of essays that come your way. Okay. And here are some of the things that you will have to think about, which are very, very easy. Remember, I told you about breaking down. What we did is we developed direct questions, and this was developed, I think 7 years, 8 years ago, and they're still valid, honestly, uh, and much, much valid before ChatGPT. That's why I said that what ChatGPT is giving you is not something like groundbreaking or anything. It already existed before. Okay. So, and of course, you'll find tons of this information elsewhere. Now, why will you find it is because honestly, I have worked with the University of Michigan admissions team. So I would use a lot of their best practices. I have like worked with so many admissions directors over the period of time, right? So I will use their best practices, right, and help you as well. So you can use and you can start developing modular here, right? Now, how to use ChatGPT for this question? Okay. The point is you will not ask this question directly. You might ask a question about like, how can I express my excitement about a course? Okay, can we ask ChatGPT that and see? See, I'm going to tell you two things. So I want you guys to look at the first question. I hope that this is visible. Let me make it a little bigger. Everybody, are you with me so far? This is the moment you guys are waiting for. The live exercise for your essay questionnaire. It is a very simple, easy document which is direct, which makes you think. Here you can use ChatGPT as a thinking partner, but don't ever use the words of ChatGPT. Okay. Now I'm going to tell you like how can I use ChatGPT here is for making you think. So let's say that you know the three courses. So I'm going to write control systems. I was really, really love with it. I had the most wonderful professor for it. Even now, I don't remember the control system theory, but I remember the professor and how he looked, and even some of the equations he wrote on the board. Okay, I remember my vehicle dynamics professor. He gifted me a book, and one of them gifted me a book. The other person was my advisor for 5 years. 100% I remember them even now. Like I don't use any of it, but I remember. One of the other things was transmissions, which was like we really worked on Mercedes-Benz transmission, long, long time ago, which was one of the best systems. Now I could write about this, but then how can I show my excitement about a course? Right? That is where you can use your ChatGPT for. So everybody, if you have the ability to go to Bing, please do so. I am like blanked out for the day. But why don't we like go to one minute? Okay. So why don't we just go to the ChatGPT itself and ask this question and see how it can stimulate your answer today. All right. I lost my. Yeah, there we go. So this was the, I'm going to switch, I'm going to just shut down the other things which we didn't need. All right, so I'm going to go to the ChatGPT here and hopefully it'll cooperate. Open a new one here and ask her the question like, how can I show excitement about the courses? Okay. And here it says some random things. Now, are these random things really helpful to you? That is what you should think. You know what? When I see this, I think about what is positive language. Oh, this is what they're meaning. Okay. Then they're talking about goals. Now, what is my goal with respect to this vehicle dynamics or control systems or something? I can write that. Yeah. So shall I write that? I'll think about it. See, then I can say that I can show that I was really excited for these classes. Okay. Now, how can I show that I was excited for these classes? I will say that even though it was in the afternoon, I was really excited about for these classes. And okay, And then I can tell you like what I learned, what I felt, etc. So what does ChatGPT give me? The answer, like it gave me like some thinking point right now, right? It gave me a thinking point of the goals about this. What goals did I have about it? So then I can write, you know what? In fact, like when we did the line follower or something, I can talk about it. I can talk about this project. Okay, and then show like what I learned about the control systems, etc. Very nice. Then what can I do? Like, so I can go and think about the highlight the interesting topic. So what interesting topic did I have there? Oh, you know what? I think what fascinated me the most was nonlinear controls. It was just crazy. I just couldn't wrap my head around it. So I can write that here. So where I say that the most important aspect for me was I was absolutely fascinated. See, I'm using positive language. I was absolutely fascinated by what? By the nonlinear control and its applications that now what do I know about the applications? I know that the nonlinear control is one of the reasons why we were able to put the man on the moon and put like people on the moon, etc., and all that, right? So, and I can just write about like, the impact of this technology or something because I know about it. I learned about it. So that is what was very exciting for me. Okay. Now, how else can I use ChatGPT here? So let's go back here. So express gratitude for the opportunity to take these courses. I feel so lucky to have the chance to learn from some knowledgeable instructors. So can I write about my professor? Yes, I can, right? I would say that, my professor was so knowledgeable and, was probably, um, guys, ignore my typos, was probably one of the few who could connect the the advanced to the first principle. So that is why I really liked him. Honestly, he was the one, he made us derive so many equations and other things, right? And actually showed me literally, he was the guy who showed me the value of the differentiation and everything else. Otherwise, I was like, why the hell do we read all that and so on? Okay. Did you see how I'm using ChatGPT, everybody? All right. So then I can look at it and see visuals. Now, how can I say visuals? If it's in a social media or a blog, I can say visuals. Okay. But can I talk about a visual here? Maybe not. I don't think I can have it. Engage with others. Now, can I think about the time when I used to spend talking about other people? Right? Yes, I can say, what I can in fact say that what made the course even more enjoyable was, having a friend who was also working on the X project or something like that. And we used to have these discussions and we wrote a paper, blah, blah, blah. See? So that's how you use the tool. So now can people come and say that, oh, you use something else? No, you didn't. Celebrate the milestones. What did you achieve in the course? Okay. So then I can say that it was also a moment of pride for me when I was the only person in 4 classes to get a 10 on 10. Okay. Now, can you guys tell me that this is directly the output of ChatGPT? Absolutely not, right? But I used it. I used every single pointer from it in order to craft my answer. Now, what did I do? I used something that I didn't know about and then did, right? How can I like do better? See, I am not, I'm actually writing. So, how can I use visuals here? I can ask a question. So then maybe I get other ideas. Okay, so then I can say incorporate screenshots and all that, right? Oh, you know what? See, I can't use a logo, because this is writing. I can't use infographic, it's a writing. No charts or graphs. But you know what? I can talk about the results I did. I can talk about some of the results and how I learned to plot the PID controller or something, or MATLAB. Oh yeah, I can talk about that. I am proud that, or I was very happy to learn, MATLAB and Simulink, and learn to plot blah blah blah. So I can't use a visual here, but I learned a tool or something from here, so I can write about that. All right. Similarly, what else can I think about? Incorporate screenshots? No, not possible because I don't have it. I can't use videos or GIFs. But what about a lecture or a demo or something that stayed with me? Oh, yeah, absolutely. You know what? The professor on the first day showed us a clipping of XYZ, correct? So then I can write about that particular piece and then make it better. Then what about it? What else is it telling me? Testimonials of real examples of success stories. What success did I get? Yeah, what success did I get? Yeah, you know what? I also got the best project award, you know. In fact, the lab sessions, you know what? The practical lab sessions were the most fun, okay, etc. Yeah. So guys, did you see how this is how it was intended to be used, especially when your originality as well as your ability to write is being tested in an essay. Okay. Now, I obviously cannot use a mood board because mood board has nothing to do with it, right? But see, even though it was something like something which was out of the thing, but look at how I use Chat GPT in order to add to my what you call it as pointer here. Okay. Yeah, please ignore all the typos and other details and everything, but I hope that this gave you more clarity. So now what I want you to guys to do before you jump away would be that in the next 5 minutes, please answer any of the questions. Go pick up any of your questions from the, what do you call it as, from this particular document, and try to ask it the question, not this. Okay. Don't go pasting like this, when you, for example, if you go paste it like this and ask it this question, it's going to give you some random nonsense. Okay. Which is like this. Okay. But this might give you an idea. For example, why do you want to pursue masters now and not later? You can possibly think about career advancement and think about how is this connecting to you. Okay. And some of you might say that, I don't know. I don't know. That's exactly where don't ask it like this. ChatGPT cannot help you to answer this question directly. But then if you're stuck, what it can do is you can think about like, you know what? I want to understand about career. Okay. I wanted to learn more. Okay. I wanted to do more practical experience. All right. Then I wanted to, this is my career goal and this is what I need. Right. And then I wanted to have it without no break in my education, which is like the most common answer, right? Everybody would write kind of a thing. Now you see, now you already have some kind of a what do you call it, bullet points, and you can expand on each of it, like how I just did here. Yeah. Okay. So that is like what you saw is actually like a masterclass of using AI. And of course, you can think about how can I advance my career? How is a master's degree helping me to advance the career? Okay. So then I can say, what is the skill or knowledge that I need? Okay. Not just writing or copying from here directly. That will not help. Why will it not help is because everybody knows this trick. And that obviously doesn't help at all. Okay. Then we can talk about like, what about personal development? What did you miss out of undergrad? I can say that I feel that so I'm going to back to this question. Where did it go? Sorry. Yeah, this question is like right here. Okay. In fact, I can say that, I felt that my undergrad experience was lacking in these areas. Okay. And I want to benefit from that. So that can be what we call as the personal development angle. So you can really like, oops, yeah, you can talk about the personal development angle right here. Okay. What about the timing? I already told you, like, looks like it's a good time for me to complete all my masters. I've always wanted to do a master's and I can do it. Okay. Oh, you know what you can tell? Why masters now, right? You can say that in a conference recently that I attended on machine learning, I had a chance to, I interacted with XYZ, with my mentor, blah, blah, blah. And that's how the topic of the masters came up. And that's why I want to do the masters. Okay. So ChatGPT can 100% give you the ideas, provided you do not use the exact words or even any words from it, which is what we have been doing right now. Okay, so that's how you use it and you can do better. I'm available for any questions that you might be having about how to use anything or so on. See, why do I care about how you start writing your essays? Is I want to go back to this particular aspect. I don't want you guys to think that you don't have the ability to write. Everybody has the ability to write. Okay, I don't want you to think that this is something complicated. No, that's exactly why we exist, in order to help you with iterations and the questions. Essay review process has always been about questions. Okay, then we don't want you to make these mistakes, because honestly, these mistakes are proving to be very costly because the competition is increasing so much day by day. All right, I don't want you guys 100% to get into the pitfalls of all these problems. Okay. You know what? In fact, ChatGPT will be the best way for me to generate such roadblocks. So I can put my own roadblocks, then ask ChatGPT to tell me like what other roadblocks would students experience. So that will be like a good way to get ideas. Okay. So remember that it's a thinking partner. It can never be the writing partner or your intern or somebody. The writing has to come from you. And today you saw how it can be done. All right. So guys, I would love to hear from you about what you thought and how it helped you so far. Any concerns, questions that you have for me? All right. So I'm going to just quickly summarize that today we saw different ways of approaching the essays, different ways of using the AI tools ethically. I gave you a few examples as well. And we also saw about how you can leverage uh, the AI tools as thinking partners and still come up with something really better on your own. We saw about the tools that we have given you. Example was essay questionnaire in order to write. And I gave you a masterclass on how to actually write without using an AI tool, but use it for stimulating your ideas and getting it. And of course, various other ways of writing. I'm going to leave you with one last tip. See, the best way to actually write anything for that matter is to start with a little bit of bullets and understanding of what it is. And then, you know what I will do? I will put a timer. So I will put a timer for 15 minutes. I typically do that. Then I will start writing about everything I think my career goals are, and then what I want to learn more about, the practical experience, etc. So once you have the bullets, I would expand the bullets in the 15 minutes, how much ever I can. I will be just writing, writing, writing without ignoring anything. See, in fact, I sometimes don't even like mind the typos, because I know like 100% the typos can be like easily done after like I will just put it through the spell check here and it's done. It won't be a challenge, it'll just take like a minute in order to change all of these things. So do not worry about the typo, whatever. You will finish the writing really quickly. After that, you can start the editing. And in most cases, what we realize is the moment you start letting your creative juices flow, it becomes very easy for you. All right. So with this, I really wanted to thank you all for your patient listening. And I hope that this was a useful session. Can you guys give me like a idea of like what you felt from the session very quickly? You can give me like a thumbs up or a thumbs down or a reaction. A reaction will be good, no? At this moment, like to tell, like, how did you think about the session and what did you understand from it? How did it help you to write? I feel that writing is a skill that is not only for the essay, but it's going to be a skill that you're going to use throughout. So the technique I taught you today is going to be valuable for you for your project reports, for anything that you might write, for your mails, for writing, tons of emails to professors later on and all that. Okay, so can I get a quick sign on reactions, please? Your reactions? A quick thumbs up, thumbs down, anything? Yeah? All right. Thanks, everybody, for your time. And until I see you next, I hope that you will continue to work towards your essay questionnaire and, of course, your school selection. We have already sent out a lot of graduate school list in the first week of June, and we'll be sending a couple more today and tomorrow so that you all can utilize your time and utilize the weekend and do a little bit more research. So until I see you next time, happy writing. See you, everybody.